Coming to you from the Spit Studios in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. This is the Spit Sports Show. With the closing ceremonies of the Olympics happening yesterday, I just wanted to really reflect on my Olympics experience and explain why it kind of reinforced why I'm so in love with sports and the type of competition that we have all around the globe on Earth. Because when I was a little kid, I'm talking like 4, 5 years old, maybe even 3 years old. I don't have the actual date in front of me, but I've always wanted to be a sportscaster. It was just a gene born inside me. Listen, I loved sports. I knew pretty early on. I'm quite a self-aware person. I knew when I was about maybe 8, 9 that I probably wasn't going to make the NHL, NBA, or NFL, but I knew I wanted to be involved with those leagues somehow. And the way to do that, I thought, was to call the games or cover the games or just be a part of sports in some way. And fortunately for myself, I had some natural skills to get it done. I was pretty well spoken and articulate from a pretty young age. I was always good at English and writing and all of that stuff. But what that led to was people, older adults, subtly recommending to me that I use those skills for other things. The main one that always was brought up to me was I should be a lawyer or a politician or someone who's in positions where they debate their stances. Because listen, I love to debate. I love to argue. I don't do it on this show because I haven't found someone who I think I have the right chemistry with to consistently present to you guys the best show possible, as opposed to me just sharing my thoughts. But politics, the law, business, all really grand industries that create our society as it is, and these different fields that I was suggested to get into, they're fields that divide us against each other. Politics is obvious. The law is literally to put two people against each other in a courtroom for someone's life or someone's prison sentence or whatever. In business, it's the most divisive and cutthroat industry we have. And yet that is what sets our democracy, this divisiveness, all of these three pillars of society, to me, are by factually designed to tear us apart in certain ways. But fortunately for us in Western society nowadays, there are three real unifiers that bring us together, in my opinion. And those are movies, for one. You can go into a theater with just random strangers and talk about what you're about to see, talk about what you saw, and just have the best time because it's a form of escapism. You turn your brain off and you get transported into a different world. I remember being 11 years old and going into the theater to see Star Wars The Force Awakens. I might have been a little older than that. But anyways, and this guy dressed in a big Darth Vader costume came up to me in my littler Darth Vader costume and said I was one with the Force. I just remember having the best experience ever. The second is not movies, music. Music is obviously an incredible uniter of people. You can sit at a concert again with complete strangers and just sing and dance and forget about your issues for a little bit and just overall have a euphoric time listening to an artist that you enjoy. Probably the tunes are upbeat and you just forget about things for a while. You just have fun. It's a moment of pure bliss. And the third is sports. Now, I'm not a good actor and I can't sing particularly well, but I do know a thing or two about sports. And what unites us there is very similar to movies and music. I could be in a football stadium surrounded by 80,000 people rooting for the exact same thing to happen. And that is just such a unique experience in life. Those three things are the main forms of escapism that we all have. Now, video games are in there, and there's obviously plenty others, but those three pillars, as opposed to the other three pillars of business, politics, and the law I talked about, are complete counter opposites from divisiveness to unitedness. Now, all three of the pillars I just mentioned, movies, music, sports, they're all divisive in their own way. People will debate if a movie was good or not coming out of the theater. People will take sides on a rap beef or what they think the best Kanye album is. There'll be debates. And in sports, obviously, it's pinned to be divisive. There are 32 different teams, so 32 different subsections of the world are going to be divided. I'm talking about NFL, obviously, NBA and NHL of 30 and 31 respectively. Trust me, I know. But the difference between those debates and the conversations of the other three pillars are sports, music, movies, they're all behind the veil of real life in a way. For example, if I were to come up to you in a grocery store and you were wearing a MAGA hat and I were to say that hat sucks, all hell is breaking loose because you're going to think that I questioned your morals, your character, and your general philosophy on the world. I'm questioning you as a person. This is the same if you think abortion laws should be different than on me, and it questions our actual personality and character. Whereas if I were to come up to you in the same scenario in the grocery store and you were wearing a Chicago Bears hat and I were to say, that hat sucks. Instead of me seemingly questioning your personality, I am simply trying to start a conversation, a friendly conversation about our football teams. We'd probably get into a conversation about how he thinks the Bears defense is improved and Caleb Williams is going into the best situation of a number one pick. We can have a debate instead of an argument because it doesn't feel personal. It feels like we're talking about something outside of our daily day-to-day struggles. Our conversations about this feel like an escape. And this Olympics this year reminded me of why sports are the best, why they unify us. Like Leon Marchand's run in swimming specifically was, and I apologize if I'm butchering that name. I'm not French Canadian, I'm just Canadian. But it was so great just to even listen to. The crowd seemed to get incrementally louder and louder every foot closer he got to that wall. I didn't even have to be watching the swimming itself to know what was happening. And the elation of when they showed the crowd and him in front of his hometown, home country at the Olympics, 4 of 16 of France's gold medals. It just everybody rooting for the same thing. One person just bringing together a bunch of people through trying to be as fast as he can going through water. It seems so dumb. Like if aliens came down from another planet and saw how much we loved sports, they would probably be like, "Why? You're just trying to put a ball through a basket more times than somebody else. You're just trying to put a puck in the net. Who cares?" But it's the thing that brings us together, competition, in a positive escapism way. There's just nothing better than it. And I want to do a quick Olympics recap just for Canada because our Canadians really did their thing in the Olympics this year. 27 medals, which the over-under going into these Olympics for us was 21. So we more than exceeded expectations. The 4x100 was freaking amazing, especially after Noah Lyles' comments about, what rivalry, Canada who, blah, blah, blah. Getting that gold medal was just such a moment of national pride. Summer McIntosh looks to have at least the next 2 Olympics locked up for us in that butterfly, and really a lot of other swim techniques too. She's unbelievable. Our women's soccer team still making the knockout round after essentially having to play perfect soccer to make it to that point after the drone scandal was, I thought, such an impressive show of resiliency. And even outside of Canadians, like that finish in the men's 100 meters, that picture is going to be framed it should be framed in every gym in America and Canada. And it should say something along the lines of that little bit of effort is going to make a big difference later on because the difference between first place and eighth place is less than half a second. Unbelievable stuff there. And listen, I'm a huge basketball fan. Seeing that Steph Curry shot at the end and the one leading up to it, which was even more clutch, was just it was the chocolate syrup on my sundae of just Olympic brilliance and the impact that sports can have on the world, essentially. And there was something grander about those venues in France that I can't really explain, but the tennis at Roland Garros, the opening ceremony with all of its faults, but being on that river with so much military history and history of France, which I nerd out about. I love military history and combat, but it was an unbelievable visual, even if you don't know all of the incredible events in history that have happened on that body of water. And every single event that had the Eiffel Tower in the background, like, are you kidding me? The 3-on-3 basketball, which was I don't quite understand why we need 3-on-3 basketball, but it was so cool to watch. The beach volleyball underneath the Eiffel Tower, like, man, it was special. And after the disaster of Tokyo, where it felt like the entire point of the Olympics had to be shut down because of our COVID restrictions at the time, the Olympics felt divisive in 2020. They did the opposite in 2024. And I just am so happy that I chose this lane to talk about, because we can debate who the greatest basketball player of all time is and not take it personally, because sports are the ultimate escape and the ultimate uniter. And if these Olympics didn't show that, I don't know what will. God bless God bless sports, man. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I'd like to know, what did you guys think of the Paris Olympics this year? How do you guys think Canada will do next year? You Americans, how do you feel about your guys' performance tying with China in gold medals? Please let me know in the comments below. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed what you heard. The Spit Sports Show just hit over 350 subscribers. What? So maybe you should get on that train and subscribe. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.